Welcome everyone to our channel once again, and we have been trying to give you a lot of content from last couple of days, including the fundamental analysis of stocks given by my students. They have almost covered 45 stocks at length. I'm giving you details about few multi-baggers which have been giving 25-30% returns in last 1 month, and then probably ask you to do your own research before investing in those stocks. So to all our viewers who are watching this, please subscribe our channel so that it gives us a motivation that probably we should be going on doing such kind of sessions, live sessions we have done with many industry grades, so that we can share more and more knowledge with you guys. So this week we have touched upon a very sensitive topic, which probably people of certain sector would not be very appreciating. We are touching a topic of why real estate is not a very good investment for our generation or the generation which is going to come up. Why? It has been said that most of our elders, when we started growing up, or our parents wanted us to buy a house right away. And now I'll be sharing a phrase which was used by my investor once upon a time. He said real estate prices only go up. So I asked my son not to delay purchasing of a house. So this assumption might have been true when they were talking about 90 in the era of 1995, when there was a say probably a bull cycle, when real estate prices actually gave good returns in the year between 95 to 2007 and 8. And I will be discussing why it was giving such great returns. See, India is always having a parallel economy of cash, right? So in between 90 to 95, cash was probably used in exchanging of the share certificates. So initially we used to get share certificate, and I can randomly transfer to any damn name which I want to. And then probably in either year of 96, 97, SEBI came up with the regulation that now on shares which you want to purchase would be in dematerialized form. It will be your account, your PAN number, and money will be flowing directly from your account, not in terms of anything else. That's when the black money, which was to be settled somewhere in the ecosystem, it started flowing into the real estate side. And still, it is one of the major reasons that probably most of the businessmen wanted to invest in real estate, because if you are purchasing a property of 5 CR in most parts of India, its official value would be only somewhere around 1.5-2 crores, and then businessmen tend to adjust their cash towards through this cycle only, real estate cycle only. But now things have changed. The millennials, which we call, we were probably generation X, then came Y, Z, now millennials, and then couple of years it can be a new generation also. They are living actually a very different life, right? So if we plan to leave our house to our next generation, to our children, which most of you, me, and most of us would be going to do, and then we are not living in the era where we will be having 2, 3, 4 children. Most of us now have nuclear families, and then single or two child right away. They are not going to be homeless, right? So the base, it started from that, probably create a house so that your next generation could be having a house. So that assumption can be kept away. Second presumption that they were having, that you have no idea in which state probably our next generation would be going to live, right? I have seen my friends coming down from Banaras settling here, or Chandigarh settling in Delhi, or Jaipur settling in Delhi. So you do not even know whether your next generation would be settling in your own home city, or would be settling in the major cities, or anywhere else, even outside India also. I have seen many of the IT people who are working in IT sector like Infosys, SCR, settling abroad, right? So this assumption can also be kept away. Third, if your children are paying EMI now to purchase a home, they would not be having any surplus for this, or surplus or saving for next 15-20 years, because home loan tenure is 15-20 years. So if they do that, what are they supposed to do for the rest of their life goals? I want to travel a lot. See, our generation, or probably generation 20 years ahead of me, want to travel a lot, want to experiment with their life. So what about their life aspirations? Gone for a toss, right? Fourth, the very important time, EMI is not equivalent to the rent they are paying, right? Yeah, I can get probably a 1500 square feet bungalow at a very low price, and then probably if I want to buy that, the kind of money or the EMI I would be paying would be huge. So this is the difference, that EMI is not equivalent to rent. And please remember, many millennials want to give up their jobs in just few years. They want to retire by 30, 35, or 40, want to become a stand-up comedian, a traveler, a photographer, or probably a YouTuber like me. So it is actually a very crazy thought. but it is a fact that probably real estate does not make sense to most of the millennials coming up. They want to invest somewhere else, and for our generation which is living their life probably 1995 onwards, would not be having any kind of pension. So for getting pension also, you need to uh, get returns more than 10-12%, which is the present inflation rate. If you actually consider the real inflation, talking about we invest one third of money probably into our children's education, one third into children's marriage, and one third for our retirement corpus, right? All these three things are actually inflating at the rate of 10%. You can check IM's fees in last 10 years. You can check the kind of inflation the marriage industry, if you can talk about, is growing. Similarly, the retirement corpus also. So you want, if you have to make returns which will beat 10-12%, I think it is very, very clear where you need to invest. Let's not talk about it. Let's talk only about real estate. And probably this is the myth that probably Saurabh Mukherjee or most of the, you can say, investment managers are actually telling you that real estate is not a very good venue. Then you can also compare with residential house price comparison, house prices versus GDP per capita of that country. If you go to Singapore, the ratio of house price versus GDP per capita, it is somewhere close to 20. If you compare it to India, it is somewhere close to 625. Like GDP per capita income of India is somewhere close to 2100, 2200, if I'm not very wrong, and the amount of price that I need to pay a very, very affordable home is pretty huge, right? So the gap here is pretty huge. So I think there is a lot of scope of correction in two things. Probably the first thing would be the house prices. Second thing is probably home loan interest rate. Indian rental yields, which probably everyone think that ki property ka price to badega hi, and then the rental yields of property started going down. I think it is always close to 2 to 3% only, and home loan rates at 7%. So rental yields here, home loan rates here, still a big gap to close. And most of the developed countries have both the rates in very similar rates. That is why you can see that probably I know a friend who went to Australia in 2 years. He had bought a house. He went to say USA in 5 years. He bought a house. But probably I am living here a pretty handsome salary, but I am still not able to make that money so that I will be able to buy a decent house, because the yield is still very different, right? So we need to match that. So I think the rate correction is in terms of prices also, in terms of home loan rates also, is there is a gap that we can probably close. And probably if you talk about the last 5 years, if you talk about the wealth creation, I think everybody knows that real estate returns are hardly able to match up with even the kind of inflation rate which our government publishes, which is close to 4-5% only. So if your real estate is not giving you 5% rate of interest, it involves high transaction costs, which nobody talks about. We are very well concerned about probably the ULIP policy, उनका transaction cost बहुत ज़्यादा है. Mutual fund expense ratio देख के invest करो, निफ्टी में जाओ, इंडेक्स में 10 पैसा लगेगा, ETF में जाओ. We are bothered that much about expenses, but while buying a home, we are not bothered. But we don't realize we almost pay 1.52%, 1% to our broker. We almost pay 6% while registering our property, and we still end up paying close to 1.5%, 2% for the property maintenance, which is somewhere around 10% is the cost involved with this product, which is not even beating inflation, and then the cost we are also incurring over and above this cost. So overall, I think it is very much clear that real estate is not giving you good returns, right? But we still hear a lot of advices from our best of best friends who have actually bought a property कि एक बार लेके देख लो, प्रॉपर्टी तो बढ़ेगी बढ़ेगी. एक मेरा फ्रेंड वहां पर कॉलोनी काट रहा है, you start to try and buy that plot, or probably you can go buy a very good industrial plot or a commercial showroom in the upcoming mall, and blah blah blah. We have here so many stories about this real estate going good, and then we have also seen that malls going empty. We have also seen that developers would be coming up with a scheme that they would be paying 9%, 12% rentals upfront for the time being. Your not property is not taken into care, and then we think that probably 12% yield we are getting throughout the life. And I have seen then 1, 2, 3 years you get, and after 3 years everybody disappear, become Mr. India, and then there is nobody to take care. I have seen, in fact, people not even able to sell those property to somebody else. They have become dead properties, right? So then also the people would suggesting ki just make 20% down payment and the rest can be financed. This is where the real problem lies, and I want to address. Being a loan person, I also run a company whereby we help people to get loan finance at a good banks and then financial advisory stuff. But then this is where the real problem lies. If you're investing into real estate, forget about making returns. If you're getting 80% finance, you are in a big trouble. Now let me show you why you are in a big trouble. I will be like to show you a sheet which will help you in understanding the concept very well. See, now I think my screen is pretty visible. Say, for example, the cost is 30 lakh rupees. You are buying a property for 30 lakhs rupees. Down payment is only 6 lakh rupees. Loan, say, for example, at this point of time, you can understand that probably ROI is 6.5 or 7%. But then if you take about the median value, it is somewhere close to 8% for home loan. So you're taking loan at 8% for 24 lakhs. So interest you are paying in 5 years. Say for example, we are selling the property after 5 years because of कहते हैं 5 साल में double हो जाती है, ये हो जाता है, वो हो जाता है. And this is the amount of interest that we have paid. For example, we have purchased a property for 30 lakhs and we are selling the property at 45 lakhs. Broker cost, purchase plus sell, एक बार property लोगे, दोबारा बेचोगे भी, so at least it would be incurring somewhere close to 2.5%, or a very random figure. Not even if 2%, let's take 1%. 30 लाख में बेची 30,000, 30 लाख में खरीदी 30,000, 45 लाख में बेची 45,000. So 75,000 is a basic broker cost, and I am sure you must have heard of the more brokerage amount also. So 75,000 amount is the amount that you are paying. Then you have registration cost, 6%. Normally in most of the metro cities you are paying registration cost, which is another 1,80,000. Maintenance cost. Everybody in most of the good society is paying some part of maintenance. I have also taken as a ballpark figure of 0.05% for the entire year, and it is 1.5 lakhs. So net profit you are getting is 1.9 lakhs in the period of 5 years. Even if you have sold the property, purchased property at 30 lakhs, sold at 45 lakhs, you think 15 lakh का profit हो गया, बहुत बढ़िया. But ultimately, what have we made? 6.35% for the 5 years, and what have we made for the CAGR every year on year basis? 1%. All right. So you will say कि यार ऐसा हर बार नहीं होता, property we have seen getting double, tripled. So say let's take an example. We have taken it for 10 years. After 10 years you sold it at somewhere close to 70 odd lakhs. Right? Decent amount, 30 lakh की लीज 10 साल बाद 70 में बेची. Why we have normally seen, if you talk about Delhi or metro cities, in last 5-10 years, probably your property, forget about 2.5 times, it is not even 1.5 times. Probably in most of the areas it is 1.25, 1.35 times. Let's forget it. Say for example, I have bought a property in the region where my property got inflated by 2.5 times in next 10 years. So 70 lakhs interest I would be paying is close to 16.5 lakhs. Brokerage plus as given 1%, 70,000 पे यहाँ दूंगा, 30,000 वहाँ दूंगा, 1 लाख. Registration cost, purchasing time मिलेगी, बेचते हुए नहीं लगेगी. So 1,80,000. Maintenance cost for 10 years, 3 lakh rupees. So profit I made now is 17.56 lakhs, 18 lakhs approximately. ROI 58% for 10 years. So for say CAGR 5.75%. IndusInd Bank की FD करा के रख देते, तब भी same interest मिलता. So this is what I wanted to show you. Even if a property is, if you're notionally thinking that 30 lakh की property 70 lakh में बेची है, and you have taken a loan for that, the kind of return after your property getting 2.5 times in 10 years is still less than 6%, which is not even close to the inflation rate which government is telling you, right? So I think it is very clear why we want to invest in an instrument which will be giving us 10-12% more returns, more than 10-12%, which is actual inflation, and not in real estate. Real estate would be for businessmen, should be for businessmen, because they want to settle their parallel economy, cash economy. They have to adjust that money also, and not for people who are actually earning everything in white. People like you and me, everything is in white. We probably we understand that probably the rentals we are paying and the kind of EMI we need to incur for purchasing a property is hugely different. And I think I live in a house. My parents have bought that. I have not invested in any house. I have invested in equities, mutual fund, and different instrument, which I think is right according to my risk profile. But I think rental real estate would not be in my checklist, at least for next 20-30 years. I don't see any situation that I would be purchasing a real estate just for making returns. I think there are better situations available. You have seen an example of 6 odd percent, not even 6%, if you have taken a loan. So for people like me who want to purchase a big property and want to take it through getting it financed, I think it is a complete no. So thank you very much for watching this video. I think it is pretty clear that if you want to purchase a property, do not get it financed. If you can probably purchase it single-handedly, then also it is okay, because any which way I have told you that you would be incurring 10% cost. So similar returns or probably much more returns can be bought if you bought consistent compounders. वो पैसा बहाना लगा के एशियन पेंट, एचडीएफसी, एस्ट्रल पाइप, पीडीलाइट में लगा दिया होता तो you would have got better returns without incurring any cost, and the kind of taxation you would be having even after this rule changing at the 10% would be taxed, even that is okay. We will still be better off, right? So thank you very much for watching this episode. Next week we will try to come up with something new, and we will be able to give you more knowledge about the financial world. Thank you so much.